good, guys? This story is coming out of Elizabeth City, North Carolina. I want to thank Marie722 for sending it to me. It's coming from the News and Observer. Black man shot, killed by deputies with search warrant in North Carolina, officials say. I have a couple of videos that I will play at the end of this. A black man was shot and killed in North Carolina on Wednesday today by sheriff's deputies carrying out a search warrant, officials said. The shooting happened at about 8:30 a.m. in Elizabeth City, the Pasquotank County Sheriff's Office said. During a news conference Wednesday afternoon, Sheriff Tommy Wooten identified the man as Andrew Brown Jr. News station Wavy reported that family members said Brown was 40 years old. The city council in Elizabeth City, roughly 165 miles northeast of Raleigh, held an emotional emergency meeting this evening. 6 deputies and officers stood in front of the door to City Hall, blocking public entry. Quote, "There are a lot of people hurting in our city," Councilman Gabriel Adkins said at the meeting. "We have a lot of hurt people," end quote. Adkins represents the city's 2nd ward where the shooting occurred. Quote, "I'm afraid. Let's be real. Let's talk about transparency. I'm going to be transparent," Adkins said. "I'm afraid as a black man walking around the city, driving my car down the road, trying to make sure that I'm driving the speed limit, trying to make sure that I wear my seatbelt, trying to make sure that I do everything right," end quote. Adkins turned to the town's police chief and thanked him. Mayor Betty J. Parker opened the discussion by saying she wanted, quote, "to make it perfectly clear," end quote, that the Pasquotank County Sheriff's Department and not the Elizabeth City Police Department was involved in the shooting. Quote, "We just want to remind everybody to try to stay calm," Atkins said, asking for people to trust the State Bureau of Investigation to, quote, "do its job," end quote. Council member Darius Horton said the city needs to be transparent about what happened. Quote, "We don't have the information, but it needs to be put out in the forefront. The body cameras, that needs to be released immediately," he said. About 200 people gathered outside City Hall during the meeting, some of them friends of Brown, demanding answers and justice. Quote, "I've been knowing him for 30 years, and he wasn't a violent person," said Daniel Bowser. He didn't mess with guns. He didn't tote no guns," end quote. "I don't care what they put out there. He didn't deserve to die," end quote. Wooten said law enforcement agencies and the State Highway Patrol came to Elizabeth City today, quote, "to ensure the safety and protection of the citizens in our community," end quote. Officials provided few details about the shooting, saying the State Bureau of Investigation has taken over. The deputies involved had body-worn cameras, Wooten said. Quote, "We will be transparent and we will take proper action based on the findings of the SBI investigation," end quote, he said. The shooting comes less than 24 hours after former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin was convicted of murder in the death of George Floyd, an unarmed black man. Floyd died after Chauvin kneeled on his neck for more than 9 minutes last May. His death sparked nationwide protests calling for increased police accountability and changes in the way officers interact with black people. Situated in far northeastern North Carolina near the Virginia border, Elizabeth City is home to about 18,000 people, nearly half of rural Pasquotank County total population. Half of the city's residents are black, compared to about 13% statewide, according to the Census Bureau data. Elizabeth City State University, a historically black school, canceled classes after 3:30 p.m. Wednesday, today. School officials encourage students and staff to contact the counseling center if they are in need of emotional support. DA Andrew Womble, whose jurisdiction spans several North Carolina counties, including Pasquotank, promised a thorough investigation. Quote, "What we are looking for at this time will be accurate answers and not fast answers," end quote, Womble said. By this afternoon, Brown's death began to draw attention on social media. And here are some of those posts. This was coming from Twitter. It says, "Clearly yesterday's verdict meant nothing for the police in North Carolina who felt they had the audacity to kill another black man in his own car. Say his name, hashtag Andrew Brown. Abolish the police." Another one from The Chosen One on Twitter. "Do not let Andrew Brown's death slip through the cracks unnoticed because y'all don't care about rural towns. Black Lives Matter whether they're in Detroit or Elizabeth City. Another person. Police do not have the power to execute people for non-compliance. Hashtag Andrew Brown. And it says underneath it, and hashtag Ma'Khia Bryant, who wasn't even given the opportunity to comply. Another one says another person murdered by the police. Andrew Brown, say his name. Hashtag abolish the police. And she shared an article. And that is the end of this article. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to play several videos that go along with this story now.
Tonight, a deputy who shot and killed a man while serving a search warrant in North Carolina this morning has been put on leave pending an investigation. According to authorities, it involved a Pasquotank County Sheriff's deputy in Elizabeth City around 8:30 a.m. Now, witnesses say 40-year-old Andrew Brown Jr. was shot several times as he got in a car and attempted to drive away. Family members, friends, and neighbors have been gathering outside the shooting scene all day. Keith Rivers, president of the Pasquotank County NAACP, is calling for an independent investigation into the shooting.
If the sheriff's department was wearing their body cameras, if the body cameras were on, that information needs to be disseminated as quickly as possible.
The sheriff's office says the deputy was wearing a body camera.
It's been a tragic day today that started at approximately 8:30 a.m. during the search warrant at 421 State Street by Pasquotank County Sheriff's deputies. Andrew Brown Jr. was fatally wounded during this search warrant. The North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation, an outside agency, was immediately contacted and is conducting this investigation. The Sheriff's Office has complete trust in the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation and its ability to complete this investigation. The Sheriff's Office will be transparent and take the proper actions based on the findings of the SBI's investigation. I have put together a team of local law enforcement to come to Pasquotank County to ensure the safety and protection of the citizens in our community.
The SBI was requested by the Pasquotank County Sheriff's Office this morning immediately after an incident in which officers of the Pasquotank County Sheriff's Office or deputies were involved in the shooting. The SBI agents in our district deployed immediately and began conducting interviews. We will conduct a thorough and complete investigation utilizing all available resources. Our agents are fact finders, and at which time all interviews and casework are completed, we'll turn our findings and our case file over to the District Attorney Womble, at which time he'll make a determination about any criminal charges. It's very early in the investigation, so we will not be able to answer any questions about any of the details involved in this case. Thank you.
We do have body cameras, yes, and they were active.
When we see situations like this play out in other jurisdictions, sometimes the police are very proactive in wanting to show that to the public. Is there a reason you're not able to do that?
We are currently working at it right now as hard as we can, yes. We will be transparent with this situation, absolutely. We will.
Can you confirm that this was part of the drug task force here in the Northeast North Carolina, that they were serving a drug warrant or a search warrant for drugs or something like that?
What I can confirm is this was a search warrant. This was a search warrant that was needed.
The title of the article from the News and Observer says it all. And we'll see what happens when the body camera footage comes out. I know that in North Carolina, a judge must approve that footage to be released. So I assume they're waiting on the judge to sign off on that before they do release it. So I will update this story as it goes along. Thanks for watching, guys.